Hello everyone, and welcome back to Psych for All. Today, we'll be using a sample dataset to run frequencies on SPSS. As you can see, in our dataset, we have two variables. Our first variable is caffeine and contains 40 participants. The same can be seen for our second variable of sleep, which also contains 40 participants. Now, when we head to our variable view, we can see the label to our first variable, caffeine, which is the question, do you consume caffeine? For the values, for participants that answered no, they were categorized as 1. For participants that answered yes, they were categorized as 2. Now, for our second variable of sleep, the label of the question is, on average, do you get 8 hours of sleep per night? For values, when participants answered less than 8 hours, they were categorized as 1. When they answered more than 8 hours, they were categorized as 2. These type of variables are also categorized as dichotomous variables. Now, let's go ahead and head back to data view and run our frequencies. First, we'll go ahead and come up to the section of Analyze on SPSS. Then, we'll scroll down to Descriptive Statistics. Now, we'll scroll to the right and click on Frequencies. As you can see, we have our two variables here on the left box of caffeine and sleep. We'll go ahead and click on caffeine first, come to this middle arrow, and move it to the right. We'll do the same with our variable of sleep. After we've moved the variables from the left box to the right box, we'll go ahead and click OK. Now, as you can see, on our first table, we have the questions of our two variables. For our first variable of caffeine, we have, do you consume caffeine? And for our second variable of sleep, we have, on average, do you get 8 hours of sleep per night on the right? So, as you can see here on the first row of valid, we have 40 participants that answer the question, do you consume caffeine? And also 40 participants that answered the question, on average, do you get 8 hours of sleep per night? This is because all participants answered both questions to both of our variables in this sample dataset. Because of this, there were no missing values on any of the questions. Luckily, because this is a sample dataset, we had no missing values. However, in real-world data and real-world datasets, there will be missing values, and it may get quite messy. Now, if we go down here to our second table for our first variable of do you consume caffeine, we have a frequency column. Out of the 40 participants in total that answered this question, 26 of them answered yes, and 14 of them answered no. To the right of this column is the percentage values. Out of our entire data set, 65% of participants that answered this question did consume caffeine. 35% do not consume caffeine. If we go down to our third table, for our question of, on average, do you get 8 hours of sleep per night, for our variable of sleep. Out of the 40 participants in our dataset that answered this question, 15 get 8 hours of sleep per night, and 25 get less than 8 hours of sleep per night. For percentage values, 37.5% of the participants in our dataset get more than 8 hours of sleep per night, while 62.5% get less than 8 hours of sleep per night. Thank you for watching Psych for All, and I hope that everybody has learned how to run basic frequencies on SPSS. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel for more stats. Thank you.